At school, Komi is gently grazed on the cheek by Najimi, leading her to decide to do the same to Tadano. Outside the classroom, Najimi gives Komi a small notebook and instructs her to write down the names of all the friends she has made so far. Nervously, she hands the notebook to Tadano, asking him to write his name first. A nervous new student named Makoto Katai arrives in class but intimidates everyone, making it difficult for anyone to approach him. However, Tadano manages to endear himself to Katai by talking to him. Nakanaka invites everyone to her house, but Yamai irritates her, causing them to argue. When Komi expresses that both Yamai and Nakanaka are equally important to her, an unsatisfied Nakanaka challenges them to a video game, which Najimi ultimately wins. During an exam, Komi drops her pencil but is too scared to ask the teacher for help. Tadano notices and deliberately drops his own pencil to assist her. Later, Tadano realizes he doesn't have an eraser, so Komi decides to repay the favor. However, they both feel too embarrassed to focus on their work. When they return home, Tadano refuses to let Hitomi use the eraser Komi gave him. Komi gets frightened by a powerful typhoon, but she feels comforted when Tadano calls her and she asks him to continue talking to her. Upon returning to school, Yamai attempts to catch a glimpse of Komi's underwear reflected in a puddle. Despite failing, Yamai consoles herself by appreciating her own beauty. Tadano's male classmates gather together and each imagines what a romantic relationship would be like with their female classmates. When they struggle to come up with one involving Komi, Tadano takes the initiative, but embarrasses himself in the process. Komi, One Mine, and Otori visit a cat cafe, while Komi adores cats. None of them want to play with her, leaving her envious of Otori. However, a black cat named Chocolate approaches Komi and allows her to pet her, bringing her joy while One Mine captures the moment in a photo. Yamai and Najimi engage in a game called I Love You with Komi, where they observe her reactions to hearing those words from different people. When it's Tadano's turn, he gets interrupted before he can say it. Komi excuses herself and outside the classroom, she ponders on her desire for him to finish the phrase. She then goes to visit Chocolate. Tadano makes an attempt to teach Nakanaka and Yamai how to interpret Komi's thoughts in any situation. However, they struggle to understand her correctly, leading to a disagreement among themselves. In another instance, Tadano's classmates engage in their imaginative discussions once again. This time, they manage to come up with a romantic scenario involving Komi, portraying her as an overly protective and lethal assassin. Their conversation comes to a halt as soon as Komi enters the classroom. Katai tries to invite Tadano to join him for lunch. Sensing the apprehension from Tadano and Komi, Katai leaves the classroom, but Tadano follows him. Katai finds it challenging to be friendly without being intimidating, but Tadano reassures him not to force himself. Excited, Katai finally acknowledges Komi's concern and invites her to have lunch with them, to which she agrees. Komi eagerly chases after a Yakimo food truck, and after conveying her expressions effectively, she successfully purchases some. Meanwhile, Tadano cringes as he remembers dancing with Komi while dressed as a maid during the cultural festival. Feeling like he is out of her league, he steps outside. To his surprise, he encounters Komi, who gives him Yakimo to take home. Tadano seizes the opportunity to invite her to hang out during winter break, and she accepts. On Christmas Eve, Komi becomes anxious upon reading a message from Najimi, who challenges her to buy presents for all their friends. She brings Shouko along for support. Meanwhile, everyone gathers at the mall, where Najimi proposes a challenge to find the gift that Komi likes the most. Unable to reach a decision, Tadano suggests buying her a large black cat plushie. Later in the day, they arrive at Komi's house and present her with the plushie as a joint Christmas birthday gift since her birthday falls on the 25th. Upon entering, there is a bit of competition among the group to determine their seating arrangement, but Komi chooses to sit next to Tadano. They proceed to play the king game, where each person is assigned a number on a stick, and the king has the power to instruct one number to perform an action on another. During the game, Komi is ordered by Najimi to dress up as Santa Claus, while Komi's mother dares Tadano to kiss Shinobino on the cheek. With Komi watching intently, when it's Komi's turn as the king, she issues a decree for everyone to remain her friend. After the game concludes, Komi sends a Christmas message to all her friends while affectionately caressing her new plushie. Komi, Tadano, and Najimi decide to build snowmen together. After Tadano creates a small snowman, He assists his friends in constructing a much larger one. Komi then forms her own snowman and places it next to Tadano's creation. Tadano and his companions engage in a lively snowball fight with a group of elementary school children, with Komi reluctantly joining in. Tadano's team easily triumphs over the children, but Yamai betrays her own teammates when they target Komi. The children look up to Komi with admiration as a result. For New Year's Eve, Komi and her family visit Yuko's house. Komi joyfully reunites with Akira, who teaches her how to play Hanafuda. However, Yuko arrives and challenges Akira, winning and taking her New Year's money. Komi then avenges Akira in the game. On New Year's Day, Komi accompanies her grandmother to a shrine. While they offer their prayers, Yuko asks Komi if her wish from the previous year came true, to which Komi confirms its fulfillment. One of Yuko's friends informs them that one of the shrine maidens will be absent, so Komi decides to accompany Anaka in running a stall. Later, Komi expresses her gratitude to Anaka for the assistance and hopes they can get along well throughout the year. Najimi and Tadano arrange for their friends to gather at the shrine. As everyone rushes inside upon arrival, Komi lingers behind with Tadano. They proceed to have their fortunes told, with Komi eventually revealing that she received good luck for the year. Katai musters up the courage to invite Tadano to an ice rink. However, he is taken aback when he realizes that Komi has also joined them. Recognizing that neither Katai nor Komi knows how to skate, Tadano decides to teach them. He starts with Komi but quickly becomes too embarrassed to continue. Tadano then shifts his attention to Katai, saving him from falling and guiding him by holding his hand while Komi observes with confusion. Tadano falls ill and is confined to his bed. In his attempt to reach out to Najimi for assistance, he accidentally dials Komi's number instead. To his surprise, Komi arrives at his doorstep in response to the call. She offers to cook for him, but her attempt at spoon-feeding him ends up being embarrassing. Later on, Komi notices that Tadano has fallen asleep, prompting her to reach out and hold his hand. However, their moment is interrupted by the arrival of Najimi. Komi wonders if Najimi caught her holding Tadano's hand, leading her to write them a letter. However, she becomes embarrassed. At school, Komi gives Najimi the letter, and Tadano asks her what she did after he called her, causing her to run away. He then asks Najimi, who replies that Komi was checking his pulse. In the bathroom, Komi feels even more embarrassed. A narcissistic student named Shisudo Naruse tries to approach Komi for the first time but is overwhelmed by their classmates. Nervously, he leaves the room, and outside, Komi returns his dropped handkerchief. He is thrilled and asks for her contact information, but she quickly escapes. Instead, he resorts to sending his selfies to Tadano. Tadano asks Komi which places they should visit on their upcoming school trip to Kyoto. While walking home, Tadano notices Komi is feeling down, but she denies it. After they say goodbye, Komi calls Tadano when he's out of sight. She explains her fear of going on the trip because she felt left out when her middle school class planned theirs. Tadano reassures her that she now has real friends and invites her to go with him. She agrees, expressing her newfound enthusiasm for the trip. Komi reaches the train station to join her friends. While on the train, Mikuni Kato and Ayami Sasaki, the two girls in her group, decide to make Komi's trip unforgettable. Upon arrival in Kyoto, Class 1-1 meets their tour guide, Ryuko Tenjuin. However, she becomes disheartened by the class's lack of interest. Despite this, Tenjuin maintains her composure and tries to showcase various locations to the class, but without success. However, her spirits are lifted when she notices Komi and Tadano attentively observing. Komi and Tadano later separate from the group to admire the local architecture. Much to Tenjuin's delight, the class then arrives at their hotel, where Komi and the girls take a bath while Komi rejects Yamai's advances. Meanwhile, the boys request Tadano to take their pictures, leaving Komi puzzled by Tadano's excitement. In their room, the girls engage in a pillow fight, with Komi participating. However, they all pretend to be asleep when the teacher checks on them. Later that night, Komi finds it difficult to fall asleep. Komi spends time with Kato and Sasaki, but they struggle to keep up with their packed schedule. Just before Kato and Sasaki can argue, Komi shows them the pictures they've taken so far, which calms them down. Next, Komi dresses up as a Maiko and becomes part of a street performance. Unaware of the situation, Sasaki rescues Komi with her yo-yo skills. Later that night, Sasaki continues to deny being the one who saved Komi, but Kato finds evidence on her phone proving that she is a skilled yo-yo artist. Eventually, Sasaki agrees to demonstrate her yo-yo skills after Komi thanks her for saving her. During a conversation about crushes, Komi asks Kato and Sasaki what it feels like to have one, and they attempt to explain. It dawns on Komi that she actually has a crush, and she writes the first letter of their name. The next day, when Komi falls asleep on the train, Kato and Sasaki devise a plan to bring her and Tadano closer together. When she wakes up with her head on Tadano's shoulder, a flustered Komi immediately apologizes. Tadano then asks her if she enjoyed the trip, and she confirms that she did. One line extends an invitation to Komi to come to her house and make chocolates for Valentine's Day. Together with Otori and Wonmin's younger siblings, they bake a chocolate cake. While waiting for it to be ready, the children encourage Komi to talk more and implore her to use her voice, to which she agrees. At school, Komi receives chocolates from her friends and returns the ones she made. In the meantime, Katai successfully gives his chocolate to Tadano, leaving Komi feeling guilty for not being able to do the same. Tadano comes home feeling down as he didn't receive any more chocolate, and Hitomi tries to cheer him up. When Tadano goes outside, he spots Komi sitting on a swing set, hoping she will give him chocolate. Instead, she hands him a form sent by Najimi before they go their separate ways. As Tadano wonders if Komi dislikes him, Komi pushes herself to run back to him and shout his name. She then presents him with chocolate, much to Tadano's joy. However, after Komi mentions that this chocolate is the best one she made, she hastily flees in embarrassment. Komi's friends express gratitude to her for the chocolates at school. However, she feels anxious about facing Tadano due to the previous incident. In class, a small tear appears on Komi's tights, and Yamai ultimately provides her with a new pair in the bathroom, which Komi appreciates. However, Yamai playfully wears Komi's torn tights on her head and runs off, with Komi chasing her. During this chaos, a confused Tadano accidentally catches a glimpse of Komi's skirt, observing her bare legs. Akako Onigashima, who is usually friendly and energetic, becomes increasingly irritable when things don't go her way. When her earphones become tangled, she reaches her breaking point, but Komi comes to her aid. As a result, Onigashima invites Komi to the batting cage, solidifying their friendship. Amami Satu, a sweet and calm girl, struggles to say no to others. However, after interacting with Komi and Tadano, she learns to seek help for herself. Consequently, they assist Satu in cleaning the classroom every morning. Komi and Tadano experience their first disagreement when they cannot agree on how to solve a shogi problem proposed by Kato. However, after Najimi brings their frustration to their attention, Tadano apologizes to Komi, which she smugly accepts. Tadano contemplates what to give Komi for White Day while at home. Seeking assistance, he asks Hitomi for help. However, Hitomi mistakenly assumes the gift is for another boy, believing that Katai's chocolate was the only one Tadano received. Curious, Hitomi asks Tadano if he has feelings for that person, causing him to nervously respond. Consequently, Hitomi accompanies him to a department store. Later, Tadano visits Komi's house, where he is welcomed by Shouko and meets Masayoshi. However, when Komi arrives, she anxiously ushers her father out of her room and tidies it up. Tadano presents his gift to her, and Komi is delighted to receive the hand cream. After Tadano departs, Komi applies the cream to her hands. At school, Komi and her classmates engage in a game where everyone's erasers are placed on a desk, and participants attempt to bump off their opponent's erasers. Towards the end, Najimi prepares to eliminate Komi but ends up injuring their finger, resulting in Komi winning the game. After school, Komi and Tadano reflect on the approaching second year, but their moment is interrupted by Najimi. On the first day of their second year, Komi expresses her wish for herself and Tadano to have another wonderful year.
I hope you liked the recap. If so, don't forget to subscribe and like it.